All right, my dear friends and students, this is going to rock. And of course, because I'm working here at the computer, one or more of my cats is going to bother me. Today, we have Tazzleberry Marie. Tazzleberry, you want to say hello to everybody? So if you see a tail poking through the video, it's this little girl's tail. You can see she's not so little. She's quite fat. Taz, please go in the other room and don't bother Dad when he's working. We'll see how that works. Anyway, this video is really going to rock. This is quite amazing, just so you can see how to notice responses and how to play with the responses. This video is perfect for that. So let's go to full screen and we'll get cracking.
If a girl doesn't know everything about you, they want to know more. Right. And it makes them think about you in the middle of the day when they shouldn't be.
Let me just say, as far as really, so
Yeah, if you're curious to know things.
stop.
Now, what lovely Sharon just said is when a girl doesn't know everything about you, she thinks about you in the middle of the day. And I noticed that right away. Why do I notice that? Well, one of the responses I like to listen for, one of the things that gets my ears to perk up is any conversation where a woman reveals her own internal processes, reveals to me when she starts talking about her own processes for fantasizing, for thinking about guys, anything that has to do with her fantasy or her fascinations, she reveals it in conversation as Sharon just did. So watch as I develop this.
What did she just reveal to me? She said it makes you think about him in the middle of the day when you're not supposed to, when you shouldn't be. What did she just start to talk about? She just started to talk about an internal process that she does. My ears go up. I listen for when people talk about their thought processes. Did you see my attention go like that? I've trained myself to notice when people are talking about thought processes that might be very useful for Uncle Ross to explore. So what do you mean? I don't understand. What do you mean you think about them during the day and you're not supposed to be? What do you mean?
Now, the way I develop that is to say, I don't understand. Tell me more about that. What do you mean you think about them during the day? This is going to require her to do some of the process for herself as she describes it to me. And as she describes it to me, she may or may not reveal certain personal trance words that have deep meaning for her. So let's listen. Honestly, I don't remember how far she developed that, but let's watch.
She knows. We'll talk to each other in the middle of the day. I'll send her a text, be like, what do you think I should do now? Like, he's not talking to me. What should I do?
Or she's at work.
I'm at work.
So
I shouldn't be
really,
thinking about him.
But you think so.
Now, notice what she said. At work, I shouldn't be thinking about him. Isn't that interesting? That place in the mind where you think about things that you know you shouldn't be. I don't make these themes up, guys. It's just a reflection of what women are doing anyway. This is the power of speed seduction. For those of you who fear being caught, who fear you're going to sound weird or strange to women, I want you to get that this is how they think anyway. This is the way they think and where they think from in those parts of their mind anyway. That's why it works.
So what you're telling me is sometimes you think about guys when you shouldn't.
Yeah, but leave everything mysterious, because then they're wanting to know more.
They're friends
So
on Facebook, but I would give it all.
Wait a few days.
So I'm very curious about something. So you just said you like it when a guy's mysterious and you don't know everything right away.
Right away. Eventually, yes. I want to know, but I like a little mystery.
I like as little mystery as possible, but I understand. No, I get it. Really. So what is she telling me? She's telling me that part of her strategy for getting attracted to a guy involves what she does with her mind when the guy's not around.
Does this sound familiar to you guys? You know my love versus attraction pattern. Attraction is what takes place when you're in the person's presence. But I really think you fall in love with a special guy when you go home and picture this person in your mind. You begin to think about him. Maybe you think about him when you know you really shouldn't, when you're at work or there's something else you really ought to be doing. See, guys, I'm just describing in that pattern what women do anyway.
Part of her strategy, come over here, I'm not ignoring you. Part of her strategy for getting attracted to a guy is how she thinks about him when he's not around. And if he gives her too much contact, he interrupts her own process of getting into him.
Now, this is part of what I say in studying guys who are naturals. One thing that naturals don't do is have too much contact with a woman. They leave her hanging a little bit. As I've said, one of the major errors in being successful with women is to give too much validation. too much compliments, any kind of gifts before sex, and any kind of contact, whether it's through text or email or phone call, constitutes validation. If you do too much of that, you will interrupt her own process for being fascinated with you. So sometimes a successful seduction involves what you refrain from doing.
Like then you want to have room to imagine, like use your imagination to conjure up whatever you might think.
Now notice Alexis is talking about how you use your imagination to conjure up. See what she's doing, she's describing her process, that she uses her imagination to conjure up. Well, what does conjure up mean? Doesn't mean Houdini escaping from handcuffs necessarily, but it has meaning for her. So now, look at this, how she reveals her personal trance words, conjure up. For those who aren't sure what personal trance words are, they're merely those words that she uses that don't have any specific meaning, like wheelbarrow has a specific meaning. Watermelon, it's clear what that means, but conjure up, that has meaning for her.
Hold on, are you listening? What did she say? She said, then you won't use your imagination to conjure up what?
Like, I guess, what you think he'll be like or a situation.
Ooh, so what is she telling me? She conjures up things in her imagination.
That's really a good thing.
Well, why is it not necessarily a good thing when you do
Well, because
that?
then if you like think of something, you think you expect more because like you're thinking in your head that he's going to be great or this, and then he turns out to suck.
What, you can't hear her? Oh, so you conjure things in your imagination, that's it. So what you're saying, come here, is you have a part of your mind where you think of the things you have to get done, right? You think of work. You think of the things that maybe you have to do. But then there's the part of your mind where you conjure up, fantasies and
We'll make
things
that
you'd
right.
like to have happen, right? Yeah, right. And I find when I let that part of your mind really open,
Hear the command, let that part of your mind really open. Now that she's revealed it to me, I don't want it to sink back down. I want to bring it up.
see all the things you see when you think from that place. Yeah.
See, now look at that response. She's having a sexual response because she's thinking about all those things from that place, and now she's embarrassed about it.
Yeah, that place. Now, well, just one thing. Look at me. Ignore him. From that place. You see? Now, I don't know what's in that place, but I know certainly when I let myself think those thoughts.
See, look what he just revealed.
Huh?
You revealed that you do the same thing.
Yeah, you could believe that. What's that? Do you see what's going on here? Yeah. They're telling you that what I told you about women having those places in their mind is correct and true. One of the theories I give guys is that women have different parts in your consciousness, and the ordinary average guy doesn't get into the place where you fantasize, where you conjure up, where you think when you really shouldn't be about what it would be like. You see where she looks when that's where she looks when she thinks about it.
Girls like
You notice she looks down when she thinks about her fantasies.
really analyze things. So the more you leave to their imagination to analyze, it's better. Because then they'll think of something good about you in their head and just
That's right.
go upwards from there.
That's right. But sometimes it's. Yeah, there you go.
Did you see her look down again? I look down. Let's see if we can get back here just a little bit. So what's going to happen is I'm going to look down where she actually looks to access her fantasies. So I'll look down and she'll follow and access her fantasies by looking there again. Watch.
Sometimes it's.
See, I look where I move my head in the same way she does. I look in the same place where she looks when she has fantasies. Now watch what she does. See, she looks down and she accesses the fantasies. Do you see how easy this is?
Yeah, there you go.
Look at her. Look at the response.
See? Look how I'm playing with these girls. I don't even know what the fuck they're thinking.
That's the really cool thing that I want you guys to get is I don't need to know the content of those thoughts. I can ask more about it, but I don't need to. All I need to do is grab it. Now look how fascinated she is. Look at that look on her face. Like, wow, yeah, that's really cool. So you see that they're going to provide everything I need. I don't really have to pour a lot of work into this, provided that I can ask the right questions and get them talking and then use what they give me. It's really quite that simple.